Okay, so when I said measures of central tendency, some of you probably went, I don't know what that is. Okay, but when I say mean, median, mode, do you know those things? Or have you at least heard of them? Okay, so can anybody remind me what the mean is? When I say to find the mean of a set of numbers, what does that mean? Izzy?
You add them all up and divide them by your number.
Absolutely. Okay, so another word for mean is average. Okay, mean and average are the same. Okay, so write that down. And then to find the mean, you add all the data and divide by how many pieces of data there is. And we will practice this, but you just add it all up and divide by how many there is. Okay, that is the tricky part, adding it all up. I'm not gonna lie. You know why that's tricky? Because you guys push a wrong button on your calculator and then you have to start all over. Okay, or you miss a number. So when you're typing things in your calculator, you gotta be very careful. It's easier to go slow than to try to go really fast and mess up. Okay, then we have median. Do you know what median means? Izzy?
If you put them all in order from least to greatest, then it's the middle.
Good. It's the middle number in a set of ordered data. Okay, the data has to be in order from least to greatest, and then it's the middle number. Or the average of the two middle numbers. Okay, so it's either the middle number or the average of the two, because there can only be one median. So you can't have two numbers in the middle, you have to find the middle of those two numbers. Okay, anybody remember what mode is? Sam.
What number, like, shows up the most?
Good. The piece of data that occurs the most. Okay, and I purposely didn't say number that occurs the most because data doesn't always have to be numbers, right? I could survey you all about your favorite food and or your favorite color, and that's not a number. And the mode would be the color that shows up the most, or the food that shows up the most. Okay, oftentimes in math we do talk about numbers, but it could be a category instead. Okay, do we remember what range means? Range? Go ahead.
It's like from the smallest number to the biggest number, how many, like, numbers
Right.
are on the screen?
Okay, it's the difference between the high and the low. So you're really doing the high number minus the low number. High minus low. Okay, the range of ages in this room. Okay, we probably have 12-year-olds in this room, all the way up to me. I'm probably the oldest person in this room because I know Susan's not older than me. So all the way up to 39. So the range of numbers would be 39 minus 12, which is 27. So there's a 27-year range in ages. Okay, so it's a high number minus the low number. All right, outlier. You know what an outlier is? Have you ever heard of that? Izzy, what do you think?
Like the one that doesn't fit in.
Yeah, you're right. It's the number that doesn't really fit with all the rest. In this classroom, if we look at ages, guess who's the outlier? Me. I don't really fit in. Right? You guys are all about the same age, and then there's me. I'm old. Okay? So it's the piece of data that is much higher or much lower than the rest. Okay, now we're going to leave it at that in terms of what we need to know for 7th grade. It's just a number that's much higher or much lower. There's a really technical definition for outliers. And it is like 1.5 times the interquartile range away from the highest or the lowest number. That's confusing. Okay, when you get to a statistics class, if you ever take a statistics class in high school, you'll learn all about the actual formula for defining if a number is an outlier or not. For what we need in 7th grade, we're just going to say, oh, that number is way higher or way lower than the other ones. Okay? All right. So now we need some data. We're going to work with some data. Okay? And first of all, the number of students in this class, there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22 students in this class. Okay? And we're going to calculate our average height. So here's what I need you to do. Okay? I'm going to give you a minute. Some of you, all year, have been measuring yourself by the door. And you maybe have wondered, why is that there? This is the reason. Okay? You don't need to take your shoes off. Okay? So if you're a little taller because you have your shoes on, that's okay. There is one on the wall back there, and there's one here. Okay, so I want you to go find your height, and just remember it. We'll say them out loud in a second. Okay, go. You got about 2 minutes. Go find your height. Help each other out. And just round to the nearest whole number. Once you've got your height, go sit. I would say.
¿Ustedes son 10?
61.
¿Ustedes son 10?
65. Okay, everybody has their height. Okay, we're going to go around the room. You're going to tell me your height. I'll write them all up here. Okay? So, start here. 65. Go ahead. 68. Say that again. 68.
67, I guess.
And?
67.
Okay. So there's the heights of everyone in the class. Now, we gotta calculate the mean height. Okay, so to calculate the mean, we need to add all of those numbers together. Okay, so grab your calculator. I'm gonna have everybody do it, and then we'll compare and make sure we all have the same answer. Would it help if I read them?
Yes.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Okay, 65 plus 65 plus 68 plus 61 plus 63 plus 66 plus 64 plus 65 plus 67 plus 68 plus 67 plus 67 plus 68 plus 65 plus 64 plus 61 plus 68 plus 61 plus 65 plus 64 plus 67 plus 67. Did you get 1,436?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So, I got 1,436. The class is a combined total of 1,436 inches tall.
Ooh, we're tall.
Okay? We're really tall as a class. But our average, we have to take that number and do what to it? Izzy? Divide it by 22. Okay, so I'm going to divide by 22. And I get 65.3 inches. So our class average, okay, is 65.3. So if you're taller than that, well, then you're above average. If you're shorter than that, you're below average. That doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, right? Okay, and so some of you boys are like, dang, I'm short. That's okay, you haven't hit your growth spurt yet, right? Typically in 7th grade, the girls are taller than the boys. Just kind of how it works. Okay, now the next part of this is to find the median. Okay, to find the median, we have to put all these numbers in order from least to greatest. Now, I know, this is a lot of numbers. Okay? It is a lot of numbers. So we have to be careful that we don't miss any. So, our lowest height is 61. And that happened 1, 2, 3 people. So if you're short, you're not alone. Right? There's somebody else in your group with you. It's okay. Okay. Is there anybody that was 62? Nope. 63, there's 1. There's a couple 64s. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, then 65. There's 1, 2, whoops, 3, 4, 5. 66, there's just 1. 67, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 68, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Okay, that was the first thing we had to do. We had to put them in order from least to greatest. Then, the second step is to work our way to the middle. Okay? So, I'm going to cross off a high number and a low number until I get to the middle. Okay? So, high, low, 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 high, low. No, this was low. High, low. I have 2 numbers in the middle. Okay, the average of 65 and 65 is 65. So the median height for our class is also 65 inches. the median and the mean and the median should be fairly close to each other. Okay? And in this case, they are really close because we don't really have any outliers in our class. Okay, what's an outlier again?
When they don't fit.
When they don't fit with the rest, right? My height doesn't count today because I have heels on, but I'm 68 inches. I'm 5'8". So if I didn't have my shoes on, I would be a little above average. Okay? But I wouldn't be an outlier in terms of height. Okay, because I'm not like super, super tall. Freakishly tall. Okay? Alright. How about okay. Now, the mode, if we were to talk mode, I know this is not on your paper, but the mode is the height that occurs the most. Okay, we had a couple that were 5, right? 65, 67. So we have a couple modes. You can have more than one mode. 65 and 67 were both the mode because they occurred the most. I wouldn't count 68 because that occurred less times than the other. Okay, now we're going to see what happens if we would add an outlier to the class. Okay, so if this guy joined our class, I'm going to show you a little video.
5 years ago, Chandra Bahadur Dangi had never left his village in Nepal. Now he's travelled the world, famous for being the shortest man on the planet. Dangi measures 54.6 centimetres tall. That's about the height of a car tyre. The 72-year-old, who comes from a poor district 200 miles from Kathmandu, was completely unknown 3 months ago. Now he spends his days travelling the world, carried by his cousin, after he was spotted by a timber merchant who visited his village. Dangi says the best thing about being the shortest man in the world is getting to visit new countries. His latest journey is to Sydney, Australia. Dangi says he's most looking forward to his first ever trip to the beach.
Okay, so if that guy joined our class, okay, he is significantly shorter than all of us, right? Okay, if you look at your paper, it says that, I think his name is Chandra Dangi. Okay, he's the Guinness Book World Record holder for shortest person ever. And he's only 21 and a half inches tall. Okay, 21 and a half inches tall. I don't have any rulers on me. Okay, that's like,
Less than 2 feet.
this is 12 inches. That's about like this. Okay, maybe, yeah. Probably about as tall as this bookshelf.
Or the garbage.
Okay, yeah, or the garbage. He is not very tall at all. Okay, so think about that. If he were to join our class, what do you think's going to happen to our class average?
It's gonna go down.
It's going to go down, right? Because now, is it going to go way down? He's only one person, but it is going to bring our average down. That's like if you had a really good grade in class and then you bomb a test. What happens to your grade? It goes down. Does it mean it's going to bring you to failing? No, but it's going to bring your average down. Okay, now would he be considered an outlier? Yes. He is much, much shorter than all the rest of us. Okay, so think about the mean we computed for the data in our class type. What did we divide by to compute the mean? We divided by 22. Right, there was 22 people in the class. Now when he joins our class, will we divide by the same number? No. What are we going to divide by now? We're going to divide by 23, right? Because now there would be 23 people in our class. So I'm going to grab our original numbers. It was 1436 divided by 22, and we had 65 point, what was it? 65.3? Okay, 65.3. Okay, when he joins our class, do I need to re-add all the numbers? No. I can take what I already had, 1436, and I'm going to add 21.5 to that. 1436 plus 21.5 is 1457.5. What should I divide that by? 23. Okay, so divided by 23. Our class average is now 63.4. Some of you have just gotten closer to average. Right? Even the short people are now feeling like, hey, I'm almost average. That's pretty good. Okay? Why? What happened to the mean when he was added to the list? It went down, right? It went down. Why did that happen? Because he's very short. Because he was very short. Okay? What effect does a really small outlier have on the mean? If you have an outlier that's very small, what's going to happen to our average? It brings it down. Brings the average down. Okay. So when we have a small outlier, our average is always going to come down. Okay. Are we good there? Look at the next part. How about the median height? The median height of our class was 65. What do you think is going to happen when we add this guy to the class? You think it's going to go down?
Oh, wait, what?
Because now we're looking at the median. Do you think our median is going to go down? No, you don't think so?
Wait, what
Okay.
was the number?
So I'm going to go back to this. Okay, if we add him to the class, he was 21.5. His number would go down here, right? Okay, I don't want to rewrite all these numbers, so I'm going to use what I have here. I'm going to start crossing off. Low, high, low, high, low, low, high, high, low, low, high, high, low, high, high, low, low, high, high, low, high. What happened to the median? It stayed exactly the same. Okay, so when we look at our median, find the new median, it was 65. Did it even affect the median? No. Outliers don't really affect the median. Okay. The mode of our class, we had said the mode was 65 and 67. Does adding the little guy to our class change our mode? No, right? He's only one number of 21.5. That does not change our mode. So no, it would not. Okay, which measure of central tendency is most affected by an outlier? The mean, the median, or the mode? Which one is most affected? The mean, right? The average is always most affected. Okay, flip the page. Okay, this time, we have another guy coming to class. Okay, and his name is Tiny Sturgis. He is the world's tallest pro
Hey, I'm Jacob
basketball
Osterhout with the New York Daily News here at the Cathedral School of St. John the Divine in Morningside Heights. And I'm here with Tiny Sturgis of the Harlem Globetrotters, the world's tallest basketball player. Tiny, why are you in town?
The Harlem Globetrotters, the whole team is in town. This weekend we play 6 games over the weekend, Friday and Monday. Madison Square Garden, Prudential Center, Isaac, all around the area. We're trying to promote that and get the New York fans to come out and see us play.
Tiny, how tall are you?
7'8".
7'8".
Not so tiny, huh?
Not so tiny. And now I hear a bit of a British accent. Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Great Britain. Born and raised, moved over here, played a little bit of basketball, but still live in the UK now.
So, Tiny, you are recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records as being the tallest basketball player in the world?
I sure am. I was in London in November, was doing some promotional work for the Globetrotters, the tour over there, and got an opportunity to go to the Guinness World Records. Was measured throughout the day and took a little average, and turns out I'm the world's tallest professional basketball player. And it's pretty cool to be recognized for my height for something like that, and to be in the Guinness World Record doesn't happen to somebody every day, so it's definitely a great honor. I'm not built for this world, but I've adapted to it and I'm using my height for a great thing right now.
What's the best part about being 7'8"?
Well, I mean, it's brought me to the opportunity of being a Harlem Globetrotter. I stand up from the crowd.
You
It's
guys
a
gotta
great
see him
icebreaker,
playing this
and
guy.
enjoy.
Points.
You challenge me.
I challenge you.
That's pretty ambitious, buddy.
It's not even fair. Not even a little bit fair. He doesn't even have to jump.
He does it. He just like
Okay? No jumping needed. He's just tall enough. So, okay, what's gonna happen to our average? Like, you guys, seriously, I showed you how tall he is. That's insane. I have to stretch on my tiptoes. That's insanely tall. Okay? You guys think Isaac Hession is tall?
Yeah.
When you see Isaac Hession play on the basketball team here, you think he's tall.
Yes.
This guy's got about 8 inches on him.
Oh my god.
Okay? So, what's going to happen to our average if he joins our class? Your average is going to go up, right? Now, again, is it going to go extremely up?
No.
Because he's 92 inches tall. 92 inches! Okay? Our average was 65. He's 92. Okay, so the original class mean was 1436 divided by 22. Let's figure out our new class average. Okay, so it was 65.3. Okay, we're going to recalculate with him. We're going to take 1436 plus 92. We now have 1,528 divided by 23. That is our average. Didn't go up a lot, but it's now 66.4.
Only one more.
Only 1 more inch. Yeah. Because remember, us normal sized people still take up the majority. Right?
I feel like 3 of those.
If we had more outliers like him, then our average would go up a lot more. Okay? So what happened to the mean? It went up. And why? Obviously, because he's much taller than the rest of us. Okay? So what effect does a large outlier have on the data set? It brings it up. Okay, we're going to skip the median because the median doesn't change again. Okay, and we are going to go straight to the bottom of the page here, where it says generally, which measure of central tendency is most affected by an outlier? If there's an outlier in your data, which one is most affected? The mean. Okay. So the one that is most affected is the mean. Okay, we're going to do one more problem. And that's this one. Okay. Tyler receives the following scores on his math test. He's got a 78, a 92, an 83, and a 99. Not bad scores. That's okay. Okay. What score does he need on his next test in order to have an average of 90? He wants to get an A in the class. Okay. How do we find averages? How do we find averages? Go ahead, Samantha.
By adding all the numbers and dividing by how many.
Okay, so we have 78 plus 92 plus 83 plus 99 plus something, right? We don't know what that last test score is yet. And once we find all of those, if we divide by 5, that needs to equal what? What do we want his average to be? 90. We want it to equal 90. Okay. So if I'm going to solve this, these are all together. I can't separate those yet. But I need to get rid of this dividing. How do I get rid of dividing by 5? Times. I'm going to get rid of this by multiplying the other side by 5. So I have 450. That means all 5 of the test scores need to add up to 450 points. So 450 minus 78 minus 92 minus 83 minus 99. His last test score has to be 98 points. Okay, and if he gets 98 on his last test, he will get an A in the class. Okay, questions there? Okay, we're going to stop at that so you have